My name is Alaric, and I'm a 44-year-old IT specialist living in Seattle. I always considered myself a lucky man. I had a good job, a comfortable home, and a wife, Isolde, who I loved deeply. We'd been married for 15 years, and while the spark wasn't always as fiery as it once was, I believed we had a solid, loving relationship built on trust and mutual respect. Looking back, maybe I was naive. Maybe I was too caught up in my own world to see the signs. Or maybe Isolde was just incredibly good at hiding her true feelings. It started subtly. Isolde, who had always been meticulous about her appearance, began spending even more time getting ready in the mornings. New clothes appeared in her closet, more stylish and revealing than her usual wardrobe. She started going to the gym more often, and while I was happy she was taking care of herself, I couldn't help but notice a certain intensity in her workouts. She had always been in good shape, but this was different. It was like she was trying to prove something. Then came the phone. Isolde had always been fairly open with her phone, but lately it was like a sacred object. She'd clutch it tightly, turning away if I came too close. She'd spend hours texting, her face lit by the glow of the screen, but when I asked who she was talking to, she'd brush it off with a vague "just a friend" or "work stuff." I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was letting my insecurities get the best of me. After all, Isolde had never given me any reason to doubt her. But the feeling wouldn't go away. It gnawed at me, a constant, nagging worry that something was wrong. One Friday evening, Isolde announced she was going on a spa weekend with some of her girlfriends. She seemed excited, almost too excited. She packed her bags with a flurry of activity, chattering about massages and facials and relaxation. I offered to drive her to the spa, but she insisted on taking a taxi. "It's easier," she said, avoiding my gaze. I kissed her goodbye, a hollow feeling in my chest. "Have a good time," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "I love you too," she replied, her voice a little too quick, a little too distant. As soon as she was gone, the feeling of unease intensified. I couldn't shake the suspicion that something wasn't right. I tried to distract myself. I watched a movie, read a book, even attempted to do some work. But my mind kept drifting back to Isolde, to her secretive behavior, to the spa weekend that felt more like an escape. Around midnight, I was tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep. The silence of the house was deafening, amplifying my anxiety. I decided to do something I knew I shouldn't. I picked up Isolde's phone, which she had left charging on the bedside table. I hesitated for a moment, my conscience warring with my suspicion, but the need to know the truth was overwhelming. I unlocked the phone thankfully. She used a simple passcode and went straight to her messages. My blood ran cold. There in plain sight was a string of messages with a contact labeled Dominic. The messages were explicit, intimate, and utterly devastating. They painted a picture of a passionate affair, a secret rendezvous that had been going on for months. "Can't wait to see you this weekend, my love," one message read. "The spa will be our little paradise. I'm counting down the hours," Isolde had replied. "I need you so badly." I scrolled through the messages, each one a fresh stab to the heart. I learned that Dominic was a colleague of Isolde's, a man I had met a few times at company events. He seemed charming and affable, but now I saw him for what he was, a snake in the grass, a home wrecker. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. My hands trembled and my vision blurred. I couldn't breathe. It was like the air had been sucked out of the room. I stumbled out of bed and into the bathroom, where I vomited into the toilet. The bile burned my throat, but it was nothing compared to the burning pain in my chest. I spent the rest of the night pacing the house, replaying the messages in my head, trying to make sense of what I had just discovered. How could Isolde do this to me? How could she betray me so callously? Had our entire marriage been a lie? As dawn approached, I made a decision. I couldn't stay in the house, surrounded by the ghosts of our life together. I needed to confront Isolde, to hear her explanation, though I doubted any explanation could justify her actions. I packed a bag with a few essentials and drove to the address Dominic had mentioned in one of his messages, a luxury spa resort about 2 hours outside of Seattle. The drive was a blur. My mind was racing, filled with anger, sadness, and disbelief. I imagined Isolde and Dominic together, laughing, touching, sharing secrets. The thought made my stomach churn. When I arrived at the spa, I parked the car and took a deep breath. I walked inside, my heart pounding in my chest. The lobby was opulent and serene, filled with the scent of lavender and the gentle sounds of a water fountain. I approached the reception desk, my voice trembling slightly. "I'm looking for my wife," I said. "Isolde. She's supposed to be here for a spa weekend." The receptionist smiled politely and typed Isolde's name into the computer. "Yes, Mr. Alaric, she's checked in. Room 302, thank you," I said, my voice barely a whisper. I walked towards the elevators, my legs feeling like lead. As I waited for the elevator to arrive, I pulled out my phone and composed a message to Isolde. "I know everything," I wrote. "I'm coming to see you." The elevator doors opened and I stepped inside. The ride to the third floor felt like an eternity. When the doors finally opened, I walked down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the quiet corridor. I reached room 302 and hesitated for a moment, my hand hovering over the door. I took another deep breath and knocked. The door opened a few seconds later and there stood Isolde, wearing a silk robe and a look of stunned disbelief on her face. "Alaric," she stammered. "What are you doing here?" I didn't say anything. I simply pushed past her and into the room, and there he was, Dominic, standing by the window wearing nothing but a towel. His face was a mask of shock and embarrassment. "What the hell is going on?" he stammered. I turned to Isolde, my eyes blazing with anger. "I know about you too," I said, my voice shaking. "I read your messages. I know about your little affair." Isolde's face crumpled. "Alaric," she began, but I cut her off. "Don't even try to deny it," I said. "I saw the messages. I saw you two together." Tears streamed down Isolde's face. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for this to happen." "You didn't mean for it to happen," I repeated, my voice rising. "You planned this weekend. You lied to me. You betrayed me." I turned to Dominic, my fists clenching. "And you," I said, my voice dripping with contempt. "You're a pathetic excuse for a man. You knew Isolde was married and you still pursued her. You're a home wrecker." Dominic shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. "Look," he stammered. "It just happened. We couldn't help ourselves. You couldn't help yourselves," I scoffed. "That's the oldest excuse in the book. You made a choice and you're going to have to live with the consequences." I turned back to Isolde, my heart aching with a pain I had never known before. "I can't believe you did this to me," I said, my voice breaking. "I loved you, I trusted you, and you threw it all away for this fling." Isolde sank to her knees, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, Alaric, forgive me," she begged. "I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll quit my job. Just please don't leave me." I looked at her, at the woman I had loved for 15 years, and I felt nothing but emptiness. The love I had once felt for her had been replaced by a cold, hard knot of anger and resentment. "It's too late, Isolde," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "I can't forgive you. I can't trust you. It's over." I turned and walked out of the room, leaving Isolde sobbing on the floor. I didn't look back. The next few months were a blur of legal paperwork, divorce proceedings, and emotional turmoil. Isolde tried to contact me, to apologize, to explain, but I refused to speak to her. I couldn't bear to hear her voice, to see her face. The divorce was finalized quickly and relatively painlessly. We had no children, and we agreed to split our assets evenly. I moved out of our house and into a small apartment in the city. I threw myself into my work, using it as a distraction from the pain. But the pain was always there, lurking beneath the surface. It was a constant reminder of Isolde's betrayal, of the shattered dreams and broken promises. I struggled with feelings of anger, sadness, and self-doubt. I questioned everything I had ever believed about love and marriage. I wondered if I would ever be able to trust another woman again. As time passed, the pain began to subside, replaced by a dull ache of regret and disappointment. I started to go out more, to reconnect with old friends, to try new things. One evening, I was at a bar with a group of friends when I ran into an old colleague, Bront. I hadn't seen Bront in years, but we had always gotten along well. We struck up a conversation, and I found myself enjoying her company. Bront was intelligent, funny, and compassionate. She listened patiently as I told her about my divorce, offering words of support and understanding. Over the next few weeks, Bront and I started spending more time together. We went to movies, concerts, and museums. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. I found myself drawn to Bront's warmth and genuine kindness. She made me laugh. She made me feel comfortable, and she made me feel like I could be myself again. One evening, as we were walking home from a concert, I stopped and turned to Bront. "I've really enjoyed spending time with you," I said, my voice a little nervous. Bront smiled. "I've enjoyed it too, Alaric. I know it's probably too soon," I continued, "but I was wondering if you'd like to go out on a real date with me." Bront's smile widened. "I'd love to," she said. "We went on our first date the following week, and it was wonderful. We laughed, we talked, and we connected on a level I hadn't experienced in years. As I got to know Bront better, I realized that she was everything Isolde wasn't: honest, loyal, and compassionate. She was a breath of fresh air, a ray of sunshine in the darkness that had consumed me. I started to fall in love with Bront, and she started to fall in love with me. We were cautious at first, both of us wary of getting hurt again. But as our relationship deepened, we realized that we had found something special, something real. One year after my divorce, I stood on a beach in Hawaii, holding Bront's hand. The sun was setting, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange, pink, and purple. "I love you, Bront," I said, my voice filled with emotion. "I never thought I'd be able to say those words again, but I do. I love you with all my heart." Bront squeezed my hand. "I love you too, Alaric," she said, her eyes shining with tears. "More than you know." I pulled Bront close and kissed her, a kiss that was filled with love, gratitude, and hope for the future. As I stood there, watching the sun sink below the horizon, I realized that Isolde's betrayal, while devastating, had ultimately led me to something better. It had forced me to reevaluate my life, to let go of the past, and to open myself up to new possibilities. I had lost my wife, but I had found something even more valuable: a second chance at love, a chance to build a new life with someone who truly loved and respected me. I will never forget the pain that Isolde caused me, but I refuse to let it define me. I choose to focus on the future, on the love that I share with Bront, and on the endless possibilities that lie ahead. Years later, I received an unexpected email from Isolde. She was living in another state, working as a waitress. She had lost contact with Dominic long ago, and she was struggling to make ends meet. She apologized for her actions, admitting that she had made a terrible mistake. She said that she regretted hurting me and that she hoped I had found happiness. I read the email with a mixture of emotions. I felt a flicker of sympathy for Isolde, but I also felt a sense of closure. I replied to her email, wishing her well and telling her that I had moved on. I didn't harbor any ill feelings towards her, but I also didn't want to reopen old wounds. I'm now happily married to Bront, and we have two beautiful children. We have built a life together filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. I am grateful for every day that I have with her, and I cherish the love that we share. Isolde's betrayal was a dark chapter in my life, but it was also a catalyst for growth and change. It taught me the importance of honesty, loyalty, and forgiveness. And it led me to the woman who would become my soulmate, my best friend, and the love of my life. So to you, the reader, remember that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a brighter future. Betrayal can be devastating, but it doesn't have to define you. You have the power to heal, to rebuild, and to find happiness again. Don't let the pain consume you. Learn from it, grow from it, and move forward with strength and resilience. Your story is not over. It's just beginning. Believe in yourself, believe in love, and never give up on the possibility of a better tomorrow.